Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So, today's quite the interesting news day. I'm not going to say that any of it is particularly good news, but some days are like that, right? So, first thing I want to talk about, and by the way, thank you for being here, for liking, sharing, hyping, subscribing. um, all of the above, commenting especially. I read all the comments and really appreciate them. I want to remind you about December 18th, which is Thursday, where not this Thursday, but the following Thursday, where I'll be doing a live, and that will be on free readings on personal questions. I'll be taking channel member questions first. Um, but it would be fun to watch regardless of whether you get your question answered or not, because it just shows you how Letterman can function in, somebody's real life as opposed to in these big questions that I deal with usually on here. Um, so that's going to be Thursday, the 18th at 1 p.m. and at 5 p.m. Both times are a Pacific. Okay. So when last we spoke, I read on Jasmine Crockett and her chances of winning a Senate seat. I saw that she would have a hard time winning it. And, uh, you know, since I pulled on that, and I was disappointed to see that, I understand that Tallarico, who would be the other, we were talking about the primary. Tallarico, the other Democrat who would be vying for the position in the primary against her, is left of center. I'm aware of that. He is religious, but not in a MAGA kind of weird religious way at all. But he is a white male. And, I've read a couple of really interesting articles about the fact that one of the reasons we all loved Jasmine Crocker is that she, yeah, speaks truth to power, A, and she's great at the ad hominem attack. Um, but, is are ad hominem attacks really the direction that we want to go in? In case you don't know, an ad hominem attack is where you attack someone for some personal characteristic, generally something that they can't really help, like if their nose is too big or, you know, their hair is too curly. It's a little bit schoolyard bully-ish. And we have loved the fact that she has come for the felon and company in ad hominem way. We wish we could do it ourselves. But is that really listening to our higher angels? I'm not so sure. Uh, but we are not, unless we're in Texas and unless we're Democrats, registered Democrats in Texas, we are not part of this primary. So we can have our opinions on this, but the Democrats of Texas may be all about the ad hominem attack. They may love that. So that's one thing. But the other thing that actually disturbed me more than the ad hominem attack, because I mean, I kind of find her funny, is she was asked a question about support for Israel, and her answer kind of punched me in the face. And basically, to the point where I actually didn't listen to the whole answer. I should, be fair and say that. But basically, what she said was some version of, the relationship between Israel and the United States is a long and storied one. And basically, yeah, I support Israel. And I was like, wait, what? What? So is she taking money from them too? So you know what? Let me look at that first. I mean, I'm sure that the public record would let me know whether she was taking money from an Israel PAC. But I don't feel like doing that due diligence. I feel like asking the cards is is Jasmine Crockett in the pocket? Oh, oh, that's a poem. Look at that. Is Jasmine Crockett in the pocket of Israeli lobbyists? That's my question. I'm going to let Spirit take over and pick all the cards for this. Uh, okay. You know, campaigns are expensive. I understand that. So okay, we have birds, we have coffin, we have the heart, we have the fish, and we have clover. This is the Mary Bell Lenormand. I'm just using this for the holidays, just for the month of December, just for a change. I miss my cards, but we will pick them back up in January. Birds. Birds can be lobbying organizations, but they're also talk, right? Like word on the street. And this word on the street about her taking um, Israeli lobbyist money is spreading like wildfire, clover, fast. The spreading fast. The word is spreading fast. Um, we have the coffin here, and I can mirror it with fish. Again, campaigns are expensive. I'm sure if you're offered the right amount of money, um, fish is money, you will. I mean, I guess if you're in politics, this is not me, but you're willing to um, sing whatever tune they ask you to sing. The coffin is the card for transformation, but it's also the card for endings. Now, in the center, we have the heart. In her quote, she seemed as though she were saying there's this long, intimate relationship between the US and Israel since its inception. So, of course, I'm going to support them. So, I love me some Israel. That's what that looks like right there. And I'm going to pull some clarifiers on that. And I'm also going to pull some clarifiers on the fish. Mm, okay. So, here's the heart. Clarifiers are the sun, the stork, the fox. Now, the fox is the card for the foreigner. Also, somebody who maybe has an ulterior motive, which of course Israel does when they fund people like Schumer or Crockett or whoever. Um, you know, if you love me, says Israel, um, we will create a great situation for you. We will improve your financial situation. You just are beholden to us and our interests. I mean, I hate to see this. Fish remembers money, and the clarifiers are the lily and the dog. We will give you money, and you can rest assured that everything will be fine. So long as you're loyal to us, we will be loyal to you. But look what the line ends with, the snake. I've heard people say that the US has become a vassal state of Israel. It's a little bit hard to disagree with. I mean, you can disagree with me if you want, but I find this very hard to disagree with. Um, Now, I think I want to pull clarifiers on this coffin because is it transformation or is it endings? Uh, we have the coffin, we have the whip, we have the letter, and we have clouds. I just, if I were a Texan, as much as I have loved Jasmine Crockett, if I found that Tallarico did not take money from Israel, I'd probably cast a vote for Tallarico. I mean, I just think that genocide is a line in the sand that we should all consider drawing. And I mean, I could lose people for saying that, use viewers. That's okay. I just, I'm very disturbed about the fact that she was so sanguine about, yeah, I support Israel. And um, we see from the cards that she supports Israel because Israel supports her. So I think she does take money from them, APAC or whatever it's called, um, as do a lot of Democrats and Republicans. But, I think, and again, I'm not a Texan. Maybe Texas is fine with that. I don't know. I just know that when I get those appeals in the mail, because I've given her money before, now when I get those appeals, whether they're texting me or whether they're sending me emails, I just say, what is her stance on Israel? Of course, they don't tell me that. They just want my money. I'm not sending her any money. I would like to hear a full-throated, um, fulsome, clear explanation of what Crockett's stance is on Israel and why. And again, she doesn't owe me that. I'm not a Texan. But if she wants my money, my little money, which cannot compare to anybody's Israel, um, she's got to come clean about that. And I don't think I'm the only one who's going to be saying that. Okay. So I do think she is taking APEC money from Israel, APAC money from Israel. Okay, I said this was not, good news Wednesday, and I'm sorry about that. But the next question has to do with war. We have seen that the felon sold a wolf ticket to Colombia, telling the president of Colombia that he had to, get himself together and get, basically straighten up and fly right, or we're coming for you. So that's Colombia. Uh, Beyond that, we know that he has seized a Venezuelan oil tanker that was in Venezuelan, off the coast of Venezuela. So, I'm assuming in Venezuelan waters. We know that there is an embargo against Venezuelan oil. So, wherever that oil was going, maybe it didn't have a right to go there, but I don't know that we have the right to seize their tanker. And the felon was asked, well, what are you going to do with it now that you seized it? And he said, well, I guess I'll keep it. We know that that's why, one of the reasons that he wants war with Venezuela. Um, Maduro being the president. I'm not saying that Maduro is a good guy because he's not a good guy. But, you know, are we once again, because it wouldn't be the first time, in the business of regime change and fighting a war behind regime change? Again, it wouldn't be the first time, but this was the president who was not going to get us into any wars, right? Mm, right. So, it was an illegal seizure of another country's property, an oil tanker. He wants Venezuela's oil and he wants a war because a war would be a distraction from everything else that's going on for him, like a terrible economy, like the fact that his health is quite bad, and like the, you know, Epstein situation. So I guess we know he wants a war. I guess the question is, will there be a war? Will America go to war with Venezuela? Now, mind you, he says we're already at war with Venezuela because, the drug war. However, war is something that has to be approved by Congress, and it has not been put to Congress to vote on whether or not we are at war with Venezuela, which is to say, we are not currently at war with Venezuela, which is to say that a lot of the things that have been done, like the shooting of those two men out of the water, which was murder, had nothing to do with war. And even under the rules of war, they called them, what did they call them? Uh, I don't know. I can't remember. But the term that we're using, that the administration is using for these two men, were essentially that they were vulnerable people. You don't blow vulnerable people out of the water. So it's a war crime regardless. You don't treat prisoners that way, and you don't treat people who are in the water in distress that way. You don't kill them in cold blood in that way. So whether he wants to say we're at war or not, it was still illegal. So I would like to know, I mean, again, first of all, yeah, where's Congress? How about that? Where is Congress and all of that? Are they going to rein him in? I think we'll use the birds for Congress because that's a body that talk and argue back and forth and all of that. So we're going to use the birds for Congress. Will Congress, um, you know, will they come out with some sort of organized, coherent, cohesive messaging on the idea of war with Venezuela? So let's look for the birds. Okay, so this will stand for Congress, and of course the subject is war with Venezuela, which they would have to vote on, and it has not even been brought to their uh, attention to vote on. Mice, child, birds, anchor, fish. Well, it looks like, at least for this foreseeable future, they are so busy being scared of him, they don't know what to do. He has made that, well, they have allowed themselves to be made by him essentially impotent. That branch of government is non-functional. Uh, the branch of government we're talking about is Congress, birds, and they feel just stuck, like their feet are, in cement, like they can't move. And they feel very emotional about this. But so, what good does that do anybody? I think that it will take a while longer before they find their um, cojones, if I may be so bold, and step to him on this issue. So, again, the felon would argue that we're already at war. So let's just ask, will there be a war? Will we go to war with Venezuela? Um, the card I'm going to use for war is the scythe, because that is the card for war. It's the card for war, scythe. We have birds, we have letter, we have scythe, we have the lily, and we have the crossroads. So the first, and then I pulled some clarifiers on the last three cards. First thing is that eventually Congress will have to vote on whether or not we go to war with Venezuela. These are votes, and this is Congress. In the center, we have the scythe, that is the card for war. But what's interesting is that right next to the card for war is the card for peace, the lily. So we have war followed by peace. And then the crossroads. Crossroads is choices, and I can mirror it with birds. So, of course, the Republicans being still in lockstep with their demented leader would go one way. The Democrats, of course, would go the other way. Um, so there would be this split in Congress. But I suspect in the end, the votes will be for peace instead of war. I pulled clarifiers on the scythe, which is the card for war, and we have the ring, the heart, and the cross. So here's war. This is the felon saying, oh, we're already at war. All you guys need to do is just declare it. Come on. He wants a commitment from Congress so that he can go ahead and do this. Um, he would love that to happen, but it doesn't happen because cross is about endings. I can mirror the scythe with the cross, and I don't think there will be a war declared by Congress against Venezuela. I don't think so. We have the lily, and the clarifiers are the moon, the man, and the garden. The American people do not, nobody wants war with Venezuela. I would argue, including MAGA, whose sons would be the ones to fight it. Um, you know, the people are really the people, the garden. The people are really reevaluating what they think about this felon, this man, which is the felon. So he's really being looked at hard. And I think people would just as soon not have a war. Here's this crossroads card. So, you've got the Democrats going one way, the Republicans who are afraid of him going the other way. But we have clarifiers, the mountain, the fish, and the book. I think that this question will, in the end, um, result in no war, but instead peace. But I think that, like everything with this felon, delay, 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 while people feel their feelings and don't know what to do. Here's the Congress, which is the first card. I can mirror it with the last card. The book is about things we We don't know. They really don't know what to do with this guy. I mean, some of us could tell them what to do with him, but they can't agree to do it. So, again, I just feel like this sort of hangs out there in space, but there is no official declaration of war approved by the Congress. That will not happen against Venezuela now. Um, Judge Boebert, you remember him? He was the judge that ordered the plane full of Venezuelans, again, Venezuelans, to not be, to not take off. Um, they were meant to be boarded to God knows where. And Judge Boebert said, do not do it. I'm ordering the planes to stay there. Kristi Noem has acknowledged that she is the one who said, yeah, no, go, let the planes take off. Boebert now is weighing whether or not he wants to um, explore the idea of jailing Kristi Noem for contempt of court because she disobeyed a court order. So, what I'd like to know is, will Kristi Noem go to jail for contempt of court? We know she's going to be fired any minute, but that doesn't preclude her being responsible for having that plane take off. She still is accountable for that. So let's look for her. She'll be the first woman that pops up. And we want to know if she's going to be going to jail for contempt of court. I think that would be great because I think it would make certain people nervous. Like, oh, I don't know, Pam Bondi, perhaps. Okay, so let's look for Kristi Noem. Will Boebert jail her for contempt of court, disobeying his order on that Venezuelan plane? So she's the second card that pops up, and that means there's only one card before her, which is the letter. So we have the letter, Kristi Noem, the fish, the gentleman, and the rider. I think that rider is a very interesting card, and that's why I pulled cards on it. I pulled clarifiers on just that one. So this is an order. It's a written order. Remember, the letter can be anything in writing. I think this is a judge's order. And the judge's order, I can mirror it with the last card, is meant to send a message. We have Kristi Noem, and I can mirror her with the judge. In the center, we have the fish. Fish can be emotion, it can also be money. I didn't pull on that, but I did pull on the rider because what is the message the judge will want to send? Tower, clover, and crossroads. Here's what I think. I think the message will be that he sentences her to jail for a short sentence and then probably suspends the sentence as a message. You know, now you've been convicted of contempt of court. I'm sentencing you to jail for, 2 weeks, but I'm going to suspend the sentence. I'm just trying to get across to you all and to that administration a message. Don't start none, won't be none. Because next time, maybe the sentence won't be so short, and maybe the sentence won't be suspended. So I think that's what will happen. Suspended sentence, a short one, but suspended sentence, because this is jail. Uh, one more, I think. So we know that there's a battle between Paramount and Netflix. And, they want to buy whatever it is they want to buy. But anyway, point being, one of the things that is up for grabs apparently is CNN. We know that the felon really wants Paramount to be able to buy uh, the corporation that oversees CNN because he wants CNN to be reorganized into a MAGA friendly organ. You could argue that it's already kind of gone that way, but anyway, that's what he wants. He has his friend who has all the money in the world. I forget the guy's name, doesn't matter, whatever. You can look it up. Can buy it. Uh, and so I guess, why not just ask the question, will CNN become a MAGA right-wing news organ? And I think the card that I'm going to use to stand for that is it's the star, because the star is like media. And so the star will stand for CNN. What I'm just going to ask, what will happen to CNN? I think that's the question. What will happen to CNN? They've already got people like Jake Tapper and Dana Bash who've kind of sold their soul to Trump in terms of the questions that they ask, the interviews that they do. But if Paramount can buy them, they will become, you know, the next Fox. So let's see. So we're using the star, and that will stand for CNN. What is CNN's future? Okay, that stands for CNN. Sorry. CNN. We have the cross, we have crossroads, we have the star, the child, and the birds. Now, in traditional Lenormand, lots of traditionalists will tell you if the line starts with the cross, it's a non-issue because you already know the answer. And I kind of do already know the answer because we know that the Paramount guy has all the money in the world that he needs to make this purchase. But I'm not going to redraw. I'm going to leave the cross where it is. Okay. Um, and I will say that, you know, this is bad news for people who had loved CNN prior to its current right-wing turn. Um, it was quite the pioneer in its time, but it looks like it will be sacrificed at the altar of the felon. It will be remade, go a different way altogether, and it will be something new because it's the child card right in the middle. It will be remade into something new, and again, something that serves at the pleasure of the adult that owns it. And the adult that owns it would be Paramount, and they answer to Trump. Um, we have CNN, and then we have the birds. Um, I think a lot of people will be very unhappy about this. There'll be a lot of talk about this, about them being, you know, hostilely taken over. But there you go. It's the way it is. I pulled cards on the new CNN, which is the child card, and the clarifiers are the key, the snake, and the fish. So, how did it become this vassal? How will it have become this vassal of MAGA or of Trump? The key was money, and the motive is not good, right? It's to narrow down the choices that we have in where we get our news. But on the other hand, I mean, don't most of us get our news from other places than corporate media at this point? I mean, I do. So, yeah, I think CNN will become the new Fox. So, as I said, it's like Bad News Wednesday. What was that children's book? Um, Alexander's Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Some days are just like that. Um, but hopefully, the next time I see you, uh, it won't be Alexander's Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. If you're looking for me tomorrow, you'll find me over on Substack, and that's where I write. Um, my Substack is called In the Company of Cards, just like this channel is. And so that's where I'll be tomorrow, but you'll see me again on Friday. Again, thank you so much for all your support of all my work. Like I say, some days it's good news, some days it's less good news, but we are all uh, together in this and we're going to get through this. All right, you take care and have a great rest of your Wednesday.